What's poppin', fam? Welcome to Don't Touch My Mindset, a podcast that is designed to uplift, inspire, and motivate you, and most importantly, share tools to help you protect that mindset. We back in the booth. We right back. Just like that solo episode. Hello, I'm your host, JJ. Super excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for rocking with us. If this is your first time here, please rate, review, subscribe, share it with a friend if anything resonates with you from this episode today. How was last week? Did you guys hear the interview that I did with Alex McRobert? A phenomenal, influential person in the alcohol-free community, also in the yoga community. If that's something that you're interested into, please go check out that episode. We did that. I mean, she dropped so many gems there. She was on the podcast once before, then we brought her back. So we just had to make that its own mindset. But back to our regular scheduled programming with a brand new mindset today. Happy Wednesday, happy Mindset Day. We're going to talk about the art of emotional intelligence, mastering your reactions and relationships. Just probably going to give you a little bit of gems, wisdom, personal anecdotes of things that's helped me navigate reactions, relationships, communication, just overall my emotional intelligence better. Next week, please make sure that you tune in. It will be 8 years alcohol free for me. And we're going to do a very, very special episode. So please check out this one, share it with a friend, and then come back next week as we celebrate 8 years of continuous growth, continuous improvement. But today we're going to cover emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, social regulation, and I'm going to give you some strategies for developing EQ, right? Emotional intelligence is a game changer when it comes to leadership, personal growth, and thriving in relationships. Many people struggle with managing emotions, setting boundaries, and just navigating conflicts. By mastering self-awareness, emotional control, and empathy, you'll be able to improve how you show up in your personal life, your friendships, your careers, and in your growth journey. Let's dive. I always like to start off with a quote, and today's quote comes from Tara Robinson. When awareness is brought to an emotion, power is brought to your life. I absolutely love this because it touches on the fact that we have to manifest our emotion into our real life through the awareness of knowing that it's there and how we react and how we respond in certain situations, right? So in essence, we got to learn the game of emotional intelligence. And this is something that I've always practiced when it comes to selling, when it comes to entrepreneurship, leadership, when it comes to navigating relationships, my personal growth journey. How am I showing up? How can I regulate how I show up? How is the room showing up? And what can I do to contribute to the room? So I'm super excited about today because emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and express emotions effectively. Like, that's all it is. Being able to understand how you're feeling, have the awareness, and then being able to regulate yourself, abiding by maybe principles, processes, or even people that you lean on to help you regulate this newfound awareness. Now, the crazy thing about self-awareness is that you have to renew it on a daily. Because what you became aware of yesterday is old news tomorrow. So now it's just a conditioned behavior that you know of. So are we implementing the information that we need to in order to get past that and regulate ourselves differently? So why is EQ more important than IQ? Like, honestly, I think you use EQ more than you use your IQ. Like, you got to think about it. When we are able to have a high EQ, we're able to lead organizations better, we're able to lead ourselves better, we're able to contribute to other people's successes in the way that finds valuable to them because we've read the situation. Our relationships get better, our personal growth goes further, we establish new connections and actually deepen and develop those connections. Look, man, like, I've always been a great salesperson when it comes to the car industry. Like, I've been doing it for over 12 years or close to, whatever. But I didn't get to the next level until I understood EQ and these 3 fundamental principles, right? Understand yourself, understand others, and recognize what the situation needs. Those are the 3 fundamental principles when it comes to raising your EQ. And so I grasped a hold of these principles and I applied it to my selling, understanding who I am and how I communicate, and not everybody communicates like I do. And then on the second part of that, understanding others, is knowing that, other people communicate differently. Some may communicate like I do, but most of the time they're probably not going to. And there's going to have to be some adaptation. I got to adapt. Somewhere within this interaction, I'm going to have to give more of me or less of me. And I got to understand who I am from a self-awareness standpoint, and then a self-regulation standpoint. And then we move to that understanding others from a social awareness. How is this person showing up? Are they more slow-paced? Are they more reserved? Are they more task-oriented? Or are they more people-oriented? I look at the pace and priority of the interaction, and then I adapt my behaviors, because my behaviors are conditioned. I got room for flexibility. I can come out of my preferences and my tendencies in order to progress a sale forward, in order to deepen a relationship. Like, I can do those things, and I don't mind doing those things. But I gotta have the EQ to do it. So you gotta recognize your emotions. You gotta recognize how they show up, the way you're feeling in certain situations, interactions around certain people. And once you're able to do that, then you're going to be able to manage your emotional reactions. So there's a difference between responding to the trigger, responding to the trauma, responding to the things that happened before when you were in a similar situation, then reacting to the trigger, reacting to the interaction, reacting to the situation, reacting to the way that you're feeling when you were in a similar situation before. Sometimes it's super important to just pause, tap into your EQ, and understand that I need to respond to the situation, and I need to respond with care and compassion, because this person has a perspective as well, and I may need to put myself in their shoes at some point. Versus reacting and taking it personal, making assumptions, not being impeccable with your words, and probably half-assing the effort that comes with the reaction there, and you're more offended than you are looking for the opportunity and growth in the situation. So I like to use the 90-second rule. Emotions, typically, I think there's a study on it, lasts about 90 seconds, right? Unless we feed into them. If we feed into them, they'll linger. They'll linger like a bad cologne. Who smell like that, right? You smell like anger, resentment, jealousy, envy, and we don't want that. We want to, and so we pause. Some people may have to count to 90. We pause. I bite my tongue all the time, like, because I'm quick to respond. I'm quick to think. I make decisions quickly, and I can interact on a deep level and a surface level, and I almost have trained responses. When I feel a certain way, I get it. I have that awareness. But the self-regulation there is actually a physical body regulation of biting my tongue before I say something. Bite my tongue. Breathe through your nose. Whether I'm angry, sad, upset, whatever it may be, maybe I'm even happy. No, if I'm happy, I just be letting it go. I'm over good gregarious, over the top, but that's okay. Emotional triggers, dude. Like, we all have different emotional triggers, and so we need to be well aware of what our triggers are. One, so we can recognize them when they show up. We can identify them, isolate them, diagnose them, and then add resolution to them. Identifying what the triggers are, when they come up, the emotional reactions, and then we can reframe them for opportunities for growth. We can reframe them for personal development. That's when you start to regulate your self-awareness. I love it. We're moving right through this. And so then we get to the other aspect of the EQ, which is social awareness. Understanding who's around you. A lot of my coaching practice is based on the DISC assessment. And in the DISC assessment, it says that you can put people into one of 4 categories, and that you're only talking to 4 people in the world at all times, right? And that first category being a outgoing and task-oriented person. That second category being an outgoing and people-oriented person. That third category being a reserved and people-oriented. And that fourth being reserved and task-oriented. So once I recognize that, okay, only 12% of the world can resonate with the outgoing and task, only 30% of the world resonates with the outgoing and people, and only 30% of the world resonates with the reserved and people-oriented, and then only 28% of the world resonates with the reserved and task-oriented, I get right there, I have social awareness that, okay, that's the chances I have of running into one of these people. And when I can identify it, whether they're fast-paced and talking about a whole bunch of people that they got to see, or a bunch of people that they care about, or their friends, or the time that they had going out, or this one experience, I know that they're outgoing and people-oriented. Social awareness. And then I adapt the behavior for social regulation. Now I get to either match their energy or I get to bring them down. It's my choice. But I have that power of perspective, and learning how to recognize those emotions in others and make the adjustment is crucial for EQ. And especially if you want to raise it, this is the one that you want to practice. I told you guys I was going to give you strategies. And so we got to practice absolutely looking at from somebody else's perspective and feeling what they feel, or thinking about how they would feel. I call this following with care and compassion, right? You guys have heard me say it before on the podcast. I believe that I exist to lead from a place of generosity and unconditional love, but follow with care and compassion. So we gotta choose the right times to practice empathy versus sympathy, understanding the difference and why empathy strengthens your relationships and sympathy doesn't damage it, but doesn't progress it either. You can have sympathy for somebody. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's actually my default setting is sympathy. Furthest thing from empathy, it actually takes a lot of effort for the empathy to come in. But through active listening, through understanding perspective, I've been able to improve sitting with somebody when they need empathy, expressing empathy, deepening relationships in that way. It's made me a better coach, speaker, and trainer because of it. I'm just getting better at what I do. So, okay, I'm gonna give you some practical strategies, and then we gonna get out of here. It's application time, right? Tip number 1, mindfulness and emotional check-ins. Take the time to check in with yourself, right? Assess how you're feeling before you respond. Maybe somebody texts you and something triggered you within the text. Take a moment. Like I said, take a walk or bite the tongue, whatever you need to do, but make sure that you're being mindful about your emotional check-ins. Me personally, I love journaling for self-reflection. This is tip number 2. Writing about emotional experiences to gain clarity. 9 times out of 10, when I've finished with an experience, I get done going on a podcast, I get done speaking somewhere, I get done hosting an event or closing, I always ask myself, what did I love about that experience? And what did I learn from that experience? Because I'm able to reflect on that, and I'm able to continuously have this newfound awareness of who I am and who I'm becoming, because we're always evolving, right? Tip number 3, this is my favorite, pause and breathe. Like, I like to think I like to speak without thinking at times, so I like to pause and breathe. How a simple breathing exercise can prevent emotional outbreaks. It's absolutely amazing when you really think about it. When we just stop for just a moment, count to 90 seconds, let that emotion pass, don't feed into it, you can prevent so many emotional outbreaks. And then practicing empathy daily. Small ways to strengthen emotional connections with the other is really sit with somebody and put yourself in their shoes and their perspective of what they're going through. Look, I love you guys. I hope that this episode has inspired you, motivated you, uplifted you, helped you give you some practical tips on raising your emotional intelligence, your EQ, and why it's more important than IQ. I love you guys. If anything resonated with you from this episode, please rate, review, share with a friend, post it on Instagram, tag us at VJ Chase or at Don't Touch My Mindset. Love to hear your feedback, guys. If you're not in the community, download the app. Don't Touch My Mindset in the App Store. Hop in the community. We do free Tuesday growth check-ins on Tuesday on Zoom. We have a mentorship community within that community where you guys are getting coached by me every Sunday. So check it out. I love you guys. Until next time, until next week, stay focused, stay inspired, stay connected, and please, 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 don't let anyone touch your mindset.